And now our next speaker is going to be Frida, a data scientist from H&M Group, who is going to speak about causal effective recommendations. Can it be measured and why do we care? And I'm going to leave it to her.
Yes, thank you. I'm trying to share my screen. Yes, so thank you for this opportunity. I hope you hear me well, everyone. Yes, so I'm Frida Rimark. I work as a data scientist at H&M Group. And H&M Group is a big family of brands, and we in the recommendation team, which I'm part of, work a lot with improving the customer experience by recommending different products for these brands. And the topic of the day is causal effect in recommendation. So first of all, what is causal effect? So imagine a customer entering H&M sites to look for some clothes. Some products are recommended to that customer, and he or she may view some of them and also purchase some of them. But how do we actually know that these purchases are caused by the recommendation? Or how do we know that this customer didn't know these products from before, had decided to purchase them before, or just tried them out due to natural behaviors? So a researcher called Mashiro Sato has been investigating this, and he has published a paper and presented it at RecSys last year. So he defined the causal effect as the difference of the outcome if you recommend an item to a user, and the outcome if you don't recommend the item to the same user. And to actually have a positive effect, you have to have a positive difference. So for instance, if the item would have been bought by this customer in both the cases of recommendation and no recommendation, then there is no positive causal effect left. So why is this important, and why do we care about this? Well, imagine comparing these two customers. So the first one is a man who comes to the site and buys something that is recommended. It's something he already intended to buy. He did already know about it, and he's a bit bored by the recommendation. This is something he already knew, and the recommendation is not giving him anything. Then look at another woman who also buys recommendations he gets. She's really surprised and inspired by this recommendation. This is something that caught her interest and is totally new to her, and she knows that she wouldn't have found it without the recommendation. So how can this be measured? So traditional A/B tests that looking at comparing the outcomes between comparing recommendation list cannot measure the causal effect. And the reason is that we simply don't know what would have happened in case the customer didn't see the product in the list. We're only comparing the average of clicks or purchases on the interactions between the list. So what is proposed instead in this paper is an interleaved list approach, which is actually a mix of the lists from Model A and Model B that we want to test, and we recommend it for each customer. And items from these two lists are selected with equal probability. So the comparing for the A/B test is then done with the outcomes of the items from A versus B for this interleaved list, and also the items that exist in the original list only. This is then shown to be an efficient and unbiased way of measuring the causal effect. So this was theoretically good, but in real life, this has one main disadvantage for us in the team, because it required a change of the existing A/B testing framework that we have. So luckily, there was another approach suggested, which was the total A/B testing approach. So the total A/B testing approach is really about comparing interactions of the customers in test group A and B. Both consisted of the recommendation items that are interacted with, and also the non-recommended items that are interacted with. So this approach didn't require any engineering work. We could use the same framework that we used before. And even if it was shown to be a little bit less efficient than an interleaved list approach, it still gave us unbiased result. So what this means to our team is the end of the puzzle. So finally, we can see the difference by recommending popular products that people might want to buy and would have bought anyway, and recommending inspiring stuff that are new to people that they purchase and that will give value. And we can see that a recommendation system would give value to the customer journey and a sales increase. Finally, we can prove effect. That's all for me. Thanks, Mick. And I'm up for questions if you have any.
Thank you so much, Frida. This was a very interesting topic, and I can definitely see how this is applicable to so many other businesses as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Are there any questions in the audience? Otherwise, I have one actually. Since nobody has written anything for now, I'm going to start with that. I'm curious to know whether this has resulted then in any change to the way in which the recommendation model was working. If you can share it, of course.
So you broke up there, but is there any change to how the recommendation model was working? Is that the question?
Yeah. Sorry. It's like based on this new way of A/B testing. Did you also then change based on some of these test results the way in which the recommendation model is working?
Not really changing how it's working, but I mean it's proving that some of our other model candidates than the model that we had at baseline has a larger causal effect. So it basically means that we have some proof to go for that model.
Thanks.
Basically.
Okay. We have one question from Michelle. Thank you for this interesting talk. Is there a link to the publication mentioned in the talk?
Yes, I had it, but I realized I went through the slides very quickly, but I can share it in the chat also afterwards, so you can read the paper. It's very interesting.
Thank you. And oh wow, now they're appearing a lot. And then we have Andrea. Do you combine customer data from their online activity to their in-store purchases?
No, not really. We're working mostly with the online activity data here in this test. But I mean, we are many teams at H&M that also look at the store data. So, but not particularly in our team. We're not doing that at the moment.
Okay, and then the next question is, how large is your sample size to do this A/B testing?
So it really depends, but usually our A/B tests are gone on the platform for some weeks. So it would be hundreds of thousands of customers at least that coming to test.
Okay. Thank you so much again, Frida, and thank you everyone for your amazing questions.
Thanks a lot.